Hello, we're going to begin the broadcast now. Welcome to the CRM Conundrum, What Art Orgs Need to Know. I'm Lynne Kingsmith, your host for today. As CEO of TicketForce, a provider of ticketing solutions across North America, I have the opportunity to speak with many venue managers and arts managers about their software needs. This webinar comes out of several years of these conversations where I've listened to people who find themselves in a bit of a conundrum on how to manage and get the most out of their patron data. Now, the struggle is real. In our data-driven online world we live in, the question for many remains, how can I get the most out of the data? And one thing I've seen over and over again is people selecting products that either do not fit their size, that they cannot manage well, or the promised results are just not seen. So let me be clear from the start. I'm not here to advocate any particular CRM. I don't sell any of them directly, or any particular ticketing system. Rather, I'm hoping through my experience in working with live event venues for over 20 years to help you sort through what you need, and in the end, no matter what products you use, to sell more tickets and increase donations. Now, as a disclosure, our sales team currently uses Microsoft Dynamics, largely due to the full integration with Office 365, and we now love it, and also our new ticketing platform offers a Salesforce integration. But since I don't sell either directly, we're going to leave it at that. Let's start with defining the term CRM. CRM is often misused, but it really stands for this, Customer Relationship Management. And it's an approach to managing a company's interaction with both current and future customers. The CRM approach tries to analyze data about customers' history with a company in order to better improve business relationships with customers, specifically focusing on retaining customers in order to drive sales growth. In a corporate setting, say any company who's selling a product or service to another company, or perhaps an individual, a CRM helps salespeople to track their potential and current clients, schedule and track phone calls, emails, and to mark those tasks as done. Oh, I did forget to mention I do have Amy Johnson with us attending the webinar as well. She'll be looking out for any questions you have. If you have any audio issues, you can pop that into the chat window down below. And also, you'll get we are recording today's webinar, so you'll get a link emailed out to you because you did register today, and you'll be able to get a link and share this with other people in your organization, or go back and listen to it later if you need to. So thank you, Amy, for joining us, and she'll be monitoring any questions or issues that you have as we go along. So CRM software is any platform that holds customer data and tracks interactions with them. There are many sizes and complexities of CRM software. The big boys being Salesforce, Sugar, Microsoft Dynamics. These products are robust and serve customers such as Coca-Cola, Virgin America, Angie's List, Caesar's Palace. You get the idea. Product Infusionsoft sits somewhere in the middle and has a lot of marketing automation tools. It was really built for business to individual customer, not business to business sales for a small business owner. The CRM in a large corporate setting would allow a large sales team to work cooperatively on multiple contacts within an organization, tracking opportunities, proposals, and typically long B2B sales cycles. And then there's a second set of CRMs that are either free or much less expensive and less work to manage and configure. And we'll talk more about that later. Those include HubSpot, Zoho, Insightly, and more. So what does a CRM look like, and how does it really come into play then in an entertainment venue or an arts organization? And that's the question of the day, and why after many conversations with entertainment and arts folks across many markets, I've come to the conclusion that for many, CRM has become a conundrum, and hence this webinar. Some believe that CRMs will help them to collect data, or that they will offer automated email programs. Both of those things are often done with either add-on products or require an interface, or may be accomplished without the use of a CRM altogether. So I'm hoping today to bring you more clarity so you can determine which type of product or products will help you sell more tickets and increase your donations. I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll to get us started today, and then I'm going to have Amy jump in, and it will just take a second with it. It's going to ask you the question, what are you using now for patron management? And you can go ahead and just select the answer that works best for you, either a standalone robust CRM such as Salesforce or Dynamics, a small CRM or just an Excel sheet, a CRM that interfaces with my ticketing system, or I'm not using a CRM at all. So we'll let the voting continue for just a little bit and get all the answers in. All right, they're still coming in. We'll wait just a few more minutes. Again, if you haven't answered the poll yet, we'd love you to vote. What are you currently using to manage your patrons? A standalone, robust CRM, such as Salesforce or Dynamics? We're currently now with that answer at about 10% of the audience. 5% are using either a small CRM or Excel. 10% have a CRM that interfaces with the ticketing system. And we're at about 67% using the ticketing system's functionality. And about 10%, I am not using a CRM at all. All right, I'm going to close the poll, and I believe those results will be with you. I think we can show those to you. So you can see those there. We're going to go ahead and re-hide those, and you should be able to be back on our screen. So now we're going to move ahead. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It gives a great idea of what other people are doing and where the audience is today. So to get some clarity, we're going to look at 4 steps to solve what I call the CRM conundrum. We're going to start with needs analysis. What are you looking for in a CRM? What are the goals, the size of your team, etc.? How do you allocate resources? A key part of the success of any CRM is actually to set up, configure, and do data management. So we're going to have you look at who in your organization will be managing the CRM for you. Gaining knowledge from other organizations is an important step, and we want to cover it. This is a key part of learning, and there are many boards and things like that that you can do, but today I'm actually going to share my own story from our sales team CRM journey right here at TicketForce. And then we're going to talk about determining your data needs and what data do you really need, and again, what's going to help me sell more tickets and or increase my donations. So we'll start with needs analysis. Knowing what you need and your end goals is a critical step in any software decision. I find that many times people are attracted to functions and features, and they want to ask questions about something that a product can do with no real end goal in mind. So it's very important that you look first at your end goals. For many entertainment venues, start off with a very basic goal that you're going to hear me repeat over and over again today because it's so base. What's going to help you sell more tickets and increase donations? And how can CRM or another software help you do that? Step 1 of needs analysis is just really basic. Write down your end goals as you see them right now. Now, this might be as simple as storing your data in a single location. Hopefully, that's the cloud for security and ease of access. It might be tracking interactions or scheduling contacts with your buyers. Now, if you have no needs that include pre-scheduling calls or tracking your interactions, here's the heads up. You may not need a robust sales-based CRM. But stay with me, there's more to come for you. Now, from my own story, with our sales staff at 6, I had 3 goals for our new CRM several years ago, just to give you an idea. Number 1 was I wanted a dashboard to see all activity among multiple sales team members quickly. Number 2, we wanted to track emails that were sent by our marketing team on that customer record. And number 3, we wanted to see the sales potential across the entire team. Those were my 3 basic goals. Didn't seem like I was asking a lot. Yours may be different, but it's a good place to start is just write down the end goal as you see them right now. 2, consider your team. To determine the size and scope of what you need, you must take your team into consideration. How many employees or volunteers do you have making reaches to your constituents? For instance, a mid-size arts venue may have 1 or 2 people contacting 100 large donors. But a large sports team may have a team of 20 salespeople doing outbound calls for 1,000 season ticket holders. So you want to consider both the number of users who will be accessing your data and the number of constituents you are personally reaching out to. Next, review your specific data needs. What does your data look like? What fields do you need and use versus buying habits that will help you to increase ticket sales and donations? If you need fields that are not collected during a normal ticket sale or a simple donation such as birthday, gender, age, etc., ask yourself, how am I going to collect this data? What system will I store it in? And how will I use it to increase my engagement with my patrons? And fourth, always end every goal with how will this help me sell more tickets or give an increase to my donor base? In the end, that's always our goal. Now, there are many tools available to you that may never help you increase your sales. So it's important that you bring every goal to your team back to that. So once we've analyzed needs, step 2 would be to allocate resources. No matter if your needs analysis results in a clear need for a CRM, maybe it's an automated marketing system, a small database, or you end up saying, I can use Excel. Data is only as good as the management that you put into it. So let's take a look at what you may need. When you allocate resources, you have to start with any software product as the owner. Who on your team is going to be the owner of the product? This person will, quote, own your database. They will ensure that entry is done consistently across all employees, even down to, are we doing caps? Are we doing lowercase? How are we entering street? Are we abbreviating? And when you're having volunteers and teams and multiple people come in, it's very important that you have a consistent database. Every piece of software in your organization needs to have an owner to ensure this consistency. IT is always involved at some level with every piece of software. So depending on whether you use a cloud-based system, and today there's simply no reason not to for security and so many other reasons, or you use a server-based system, you're going to need to involve somebody on IT to ensure a couple things. They need to make sure that the system is secure because you've got patron data there. They need to ensure that you're backing up your data. And it's a good idea to have them manage the user administration of the software. Now, this applies to any piece of software, but getting the users to do the right things and not allowing them to do things you don't want them to do is the job of IT. Oh, in some cases, your owner and your IT may be the same person. You're going to need to allocate resources for configuration. Any CRM requires setup and config. The more it can do, the more you should be concerned about this very big element. CRMs simply do not configure themselves to your needs. Everything from the data fields, the reports, the types of contacts you have, dashboards, will need to be set up by someone in order to make it work for you. You'll need to either allocate someone on your team who has advanced computer skills to do this, or pay someone to do it if that's available from your CRM provider. Next, we get into data migration. What data are you going to bring into the new system from a current system or maybe multiple systems? Who will determine what needs to be imported? Who's going to sort and configure the current data to prepare it for import? Some CRM providers may offer data import services, usually at a fee, but always with the requirement that a good data file is ready to go. And this is the challenge. So you need to look for someone on your team that's going to work with the data configuration and the migration. Last, once a system is configured and set up, we're going to need to learn how to use it. So ask, what is the training that is needed? Who will do the training? Many CRMs offer video training, online training, or packages for paid training. A lot of them have consultants that you can purchase training packages from. Again, remember, most CRMs have extensive capabilities, so learning to use them to their full extent is a big challenge. So consider who on your team will manage this training process, communicate with the provider, and ensure that team members are adequately trained. I remember in one of the points on our journey, the salespeople had all concluded the video training. We went back and we discovered that many of them had either forgotten what they learned or weren't able to apply it because of the way it was conducted. So we had to go back and hire somebody to do some personal training. So just making sure they're watching a video or doing the online training, you need somebody who's going to go back to them and make sure that the training worked, that it stuck, and that they really know how to use it. Now, simply put, if you don't have the resources within your own team to manage these areas, you may need to reconsider what your real needs are versus your resources. These are good things to think about. What does this mean for your venue? Well, we're in a time in the past 5 years or so where everywhere we turn, there is data. And while we all have some sort of data file, building it out and really utilizing what we have to convert to sales has in many cases just not worked in the venues. Now add to that new types of marketing, social media and digital. And that birth date or that other patron tidbit doesn't seem to help us connect so easily anymore. So in my years of talking to arts venues and entertainment venues, I found that most people are looking to CRMs in venues to do one of two things. And they do these really well. Help them schedule calls and contacts. In general, this goes out to either season ticket holders or high donors. So these are outbound calls. So consider, is this one of your key needs? Go back again to the number of people you have making outbound calls and follow-ups. If it's 5 or more, a CRM may be a good option for you to help track those contacts. If it's less than this, your team can likely either use a free or a much less robust system, including Outlook and the tools that reside within Google Mail as well, Gmail. So you may need help with that. The second thing is to store additional information about patrons, again with the goal of selling more tickets. This is where it gets really interesting. The key questions here are, where will you get the information that is not collected on a sale or a donation in a transactional way? And more importantly, how are you going to use it? If you can't answer these questions, then a CRM will likely put you into more of a conundrum rather than help you reach your goals. And the bottom line is really this. Outside of a large sports team and large arts venues, CRMs and entertainment venues to date have yielded very little results. Doesn't mean there's a fault with the program. They're just a difficult process for many smaller venues to get going. So without the resources and really clear achievable goals for its success, I find that many are left frustrated and wondering what went wrong. But there's good news. There are many new data tools we can use to target our marketing to the right patrons. The digitalization of marketing over the past 5 years has brought us appending services, targeted digital ads, and more ways to ever than to tap into the gold mine of data that our patrons are willingly putting out there through their web browsing, searching, and social media profiles. And they can really help with reaching new buyers. So if you're looking to track and target buying habits of your patrons and reach new buyers, it's good news for you. And that's the subject of another webinar. Back to CRM. Step 3 in your decision process is really to gain knowledge from other organizations. Now, from my own story, I have yet to tell you from our own CRM conundrum at TicketForce. So I'm going to do that, give you our journey, and it's one because I've seen it over and over again from too many venues and organizations, with the hope that even though ours has a happy ending, your journey will be a little shorter than what mine was. So to begin with, we have a business-to-business sales team needing to track multiple sale personnel's contacts with about 20,000 organizations in the database. We started on Access in 2003, and that is still a great database management tool. A few years into it, we moved to ACT to allow our sales team to schedule calls and contacts in advance. ACT worked really well and did its job until along came marketing automation and email marketing. Now, we soon had the issue of wanting to know who was opening and clicking on emails in the same system so that the sales team could see who was really interested or engaging with us. ACT at the time had no capabilities for this, so we moved to a nearly free web-based system, Nutshell. Now, just a note, the function of marketing automation is generally separate from a CRM, although some do have built-in programs. In many cases, though, you'll either need to have an add-on product for automated email marketing that's compatible with your main product. In our business-to-business setting, we do need to know the level of interest a potential client is showing through their interactions with our email campaigns. It doesn't really translate to a more transactional marketing that you're doing in a venue. Rather than needing to know who is clicking, what you really need to know is how many are clicking and what is your conversion rate. Now, data migration into Nutshell was simply put a mess. Once we somewhat succeeded at getting it in there, we excitedly moved on to get our email list from one email product to the one that would interface with Nutshell. Finally, we were to the core of our main goal. Who's opening and clicking our emails? How can we be more targeted? Now, because Nutshell was compatible at the time with MailChimp only, we were using iContact. So, another data migration. How easy will it be to move the data from iContact to MailChimp? We thought, this will be simple. It wasn't simple. MailChimp did not accept our years of cultivating our email lists, including the fact that we always followed spam laws and practices and would not allow us in the end to input our list as it was. They had stiff requirements that would bring our list down to a fraction of what we were accustomed to using. So now we were left with an inferior product to Act by far. We had some data loss, and we didn't have the email integration we were looking for. The sales team was left frustrated and still with the same need to get a better picture of their prospects through our primary method of communication at the time, email. So with email tracking still at the forefront of our needs, but we still needed to use the CRM for traditional functions like scheduling and tracking our calls, we headed back to the market. This time, we wanted something between the simplicity of Nutshell and, say, Microsoft Dynamics. We simply didn't want to put the resources into a product that required real hefty management and a system owner. So we landed excitedly on Infusionsoft. We were convinced it was hitting the sweet spot in the middle of what we were looking for. And what's more, it came with its own built-in automated email marketing. The end of the Infusionsoft story is not pretty either. Infusionsoft is primarily an email marketing automation system. It's great for business-to-customer businesses who want to send out automated emails based on a customer's clicking habits. But it was sorely lacking in the basic CRM functions our team needed. So here we were, embarrassingly, a tech company who made a bad tech decision. Okay, I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit exhausted just retelling this story. But I use it for a reason. I've had many similar conversations with my clients and potential clients across many markets who have suffered from the same thing I did, and that's why I call it the CRM Conundrum. And they still don't have what they need. Or they do, but they don't know how to use it. Now, there is a happy ending to my story. Our needs had changed during this time, and we had moved our office to the Microsoft Cloud, utilizing Office 365. We had initially thrown up our hands and said, let's just go back to Act. We know it works well, and now they have some email tracking with a partner, and maybe that will work. Then we took a pause, and we looked at Microsoft Dynamics for the sole reason of easy integration with everything else we were using. And it worked. But implementation took the following. We had two product owners, one for the CRM and one for email integration. A support and training contract with a third-party company that took us about 6 months to do and nearly a year to fully convert. So that's my own CRM story. What are those lessons that I've learned that I want to bring back to you? Lesson 1, moving data is messy. Anytime you move data from one system to another, it may sound as simple as matching up fields in a CSV format. But the way each system handles the data can make it much trickier than that. When we moved from Act to Nutshell, we had a summer intern fully devoted to that project. She was smart, she was good with data, and the project still took months to get right. Lesson 2, systems don't always play nicely together. An integration between two products, in our case, Nutshell and MailChimp, does not always mean they will work together in the way you need them to. And we skipped the step of really learning about MailChimp and selected Nutshell based solely on its integration with a product that we couldn't even use in the end. Lesson 3, salespeople don't always tell you everything. It's important that you communicate clearly what your basic needs are and ensure that you see exactly how those needs are going to be met in the initial demo process. Where this came into play for us was in Infusionsoft, continually being prompted and excited about the email answer that they were going to do for us and not realizing that it wasn't really a CRM and that scheduling a call or an email took about 5 steps for our sales team. I'm hoping this CRM saga is helping you to realize that in today's market with so much available, many companies are selling products that just don't fit the organization. In an effort to make a sale, they will focus on what you want to hear. For us, that was email tracking. Yay! Instead of how to solve your problem. Lesson 4, CRMs can be hard to learn and maintain. Be prepared for the amount of work it takes to set up, train, and maintain a hefty CRM. And remember, we love ours, but we know we have to allocate the resources and the time to really make it work for us. The work still goes on, and with Dynamics, we're still not fully using the product's capabilities, but we're seeing many good results after a great deal of time and commitment and a much larger team than we had 5 years ago. So sometimes timing is everything. Now on to the fourth and final area of discussion today. What data do we need to sell more tickets and increase our donations? There is traditional data that many like to have that is relational in nature. For example, birth dates, spouses or partners, occupations, gender. This type of data perhaps helps us to maintain a good relationship with our patrons, but it does little to help us convert to real sales or cultivate donations from someone who attends many shows at your venue but is never given a donation. For this type of data, it's usually simple to create additional fields in many data or even your ticketing system. And you should, as it relates to your needs. But gathering this type of data in hopes of selling more tickets is often falling short and missing the mark in today's digital world. So if you could dream a little, what kind of data do you really want and crave that would help you convert more people to donors and increase ticket sales? So what data is really meaningful? We love at TicketForce to see the buying history. That's an important key piece of information that's going to help you convert to sales when you know the past history of what your buyers have bought. Interest in specific types of events. Now, while we don't want to limit marketing Broadway events only to Broadway attenders, it is good to know historically the types of events that people are interested in. Internet browsing habits and how people buy is a really key piece of information, of data that we would all love to have. Demographic things like gender, age, circle of friends, disposable income. How much do these people have to spend on things like entertainment and food? 5 to 10 years ago, we had to gather any of this as possible through surveys or phone calls. And even then, it was difficult to get outside of a few of your patrons near the top of your file. So I found that while many arts venues knew a few of their patrons really, really well, getting some of this data that would help them expand that circle is tough. So while many CRM programs promise a 360-degree view of your patrons, the data is always changing. Your patrons' buying habits outside of your ticketing system are changing every day. And attempting to store this information without really using digital tools may leave you out in the dark. So I realize I'm throwing that back in there to talk about digital tools versus CRM. I think that's part of the conundrum. That's why it keeps coming up. We're looking at CRM programs sometimes to do things that they're simply not built to do. Great news is we have both. And please stay tuned. We'll be doing more digital marketing webinars in the future to help you really know how to append data and get some of these key meaningful data points and really use it to increase your sales. So in the end, how do we answer the CRM conundrum? 1, determine your needs. 2, remember to ensure that you have the resources to match the product that you purchase. 3, get all the information that you can from others. There are so many. I mean, we've got the internet, we've got chat boards, whether it's on League of Historic Theaters, APAP, Intix, IVM, all those organizations, LinkedIn groups. You can get a lot of information and simply ask about the process. Is the product that you're looking at being used well? What was the transition like? Get all the information that you can from others. And the bottom line of everything is focus on what data that you're going to need to sell more tickets. Keep that at the forefront of all your other goals. So I can kind of wrap this up by getting down to 3 fairly obvious answers and options for your organization. And you may have more, but this is what we can round it down to. 1, you can use a standalone, robust CRM product. Again, Salesforce, Dynamics, those types of products, Sugar. Now these are really best and it's well suited for large venues because they're scaled for that. Their distinct advantages that they have are tracking and scheduling specific contacts with specific people. They may or may not benefit from an API with the ticketing. Again, always ask yourself anytime you have two systems talking to each other, what data do I need to pass back and forth? Many are available. Most ticketing systems now have much easier APIs so that we can connect to these types of programs if we need to. Keep in mind that these robust products do not come cheap. They're time consuming and they require dedicated time and resources from your team. Option 1. Number 2, as about 67 to 70% of you are doing on this call, utilize patron management tools from within your ticketing system. Now this really works best for mid-sized venues or those without the resources needed to manage a full true CRM. One advantage, a distinct advantage, is you can keep your ticket buying history and your donations all in the same place. That really allows you to get a good view. You can look at your attenders and see what your donations are like among that group. You can look at your donors and you can see how many tickets they're buying and do some cross-marketing between the two and try to expand the donors into better ticket buyers and the ticket buyers into better donors. And oftentimes, this is expandable with your needs. Option 3, you may want to use along with option 2 depending on your needs, but you can utilize a small, inexpensive CRM product. A lot of these will allow you to track calls and schedule contacts. They likely will not interface with your ticketing system, but some may. And if you do this, you're going to want to make sure that you actually process the transactional information in the ticketing system so that you have a complete file. Now, whatever you select, you want to make sure you're using digital marketing and appending tools to increase your reach, to follow your buyers and utilize the data that they're putting out there freely on the internet. The CRM simply won't do that for you. Smart marketers will find these tools to be cost-effective and avoid the pitfalls of a CRM that's too complex or doesn't meet their needs, myself included. All right, you can go to the question panel now. And if you'd like to ask a question, you can type that in and we'll have perhaps Amy help us in reading those. If you'd like to connect with us further, my information is on the left of your screen. Feel free to follow me along online. I'll continue to put as much material out there as I can to help you make good decisions. The TicketForce marketing team can get you, we blog about marketing, all kinds of things that have to do with arts and the entertainment world as well. So please follow along with us there. If you'd like any more information, you'd like to get the slide file, we'll be sharing that with you. But if you need anything else, you can email Whitney at TicketForce.com. We'll take a look. Are there any questions today?
Yes, there are a few. There's a couple, well, one of them, the first one is what does API stand for? And then there's a couple more just regarding integrations, like how integrations and APIs work.
Okay. API is an application, it's when two applications talk to each other, be the initials are application something interface.
Protocol.
Thank you, Amy. And it's simply when you have two computer software programs and you want to have them talk to each other. I first learned about APIs in the hotel industry. I was working at a hotel software, so we had the reservation system, and we had to write APIs to the point of sale in the restaurants, the people that did the door locks, the people that did the movies, so everything would post onto OneFolio at your hotel. So it generally just passes information back and forth. And again, the way we're writing software today, APIs and interfacing to programs has become much easier. What else do you have? You had it?
Yeah, we have another one here. Are there any CRMs that currently integrate well with TicketForce?
I see that's Alex. Hey, Alex, how are you? We do not currently have an active interface, but that's really based on demand. And so we are always willing to take a look at that, and we've quoted it out for a few people a few times to get that done. And just to note that our new product that we'll be launching shortly, and it'll be an additional product in addition to the one that we have now, does have a Salesforce API. Are there any other questions? Okay, well, I thank you very much. Is there another one, Amy?
I don't see any. No, but
Okay.
do you want to leave a couple more minutes? Or?
Nope, we're good. I'll go ahead and close out. You will get a link to the recording of this webinar. If you have any questions, we'd love to have an ongoing discussion. If you've got a story that's very different from what I told you today, we'd love to hear about it. Again, you can go comment on any of our social sites. You can find us there and find us on the blog. And you'll get a link with both the slide share and the audio from today. Thanks very much, and I hope to connect with you in the future. Have a great day.